Hi, welcome to this week's Whiteboard Wednesday. My name is Francisco. I'm a security consultant with Rapid7, and this week I'm here to talk to you about making the jump from network security to application security. A lot of folks that I meet have got their start in security by working through the network engineering angle or the system administrator angle, and then coming up and getting involved in security. Far fewer come up through the application developer path. And what I'd like to point out is the fact that if you are from this background and you're making that transition, you've now got web apps on your table. Your company is saying, hey, we can't just secure the platforms, we've got to secure all these applications. That can be a lot to bite off. There's a lot that's going to change in the way that you've got to think and the way that you've got to approach those problems. And not all of it is technical. At the very basic level, what you're looking for is different. With traditional vulnerability scanning, you're looking for CVEs. You're looking for something where that is a published vulnerability. Somebody has discovered that, they have documented it, they have talked to the vendor, they have talked to the industry and gotten that published. And as somebody running those scans, all you're looking for is to say, hey, this vulnerability that's been published, is that present in our environment? Yes or no? Obviously, there's a lot more going on there, but that's the basic decision process that you make over and over again when you run those scans. With application security, you're looking for weaknesses, a CWE, that's common weakness enumeration, and those are new discoveries. So you're looking at an application that you developed or that you had a third party develop, and you're saying, can I find a vulnerability in that application? That is something that has been developed, that is custom. Nobody has already published that. Nobody has looked at your application that your developers are working on, found a vulnerability, sent that to the industry, and gotten that published. You are working earlier in that life cycle, and you are now actually discovering new vulnerabilities specific to what you're working with, to your application. So, as I mentioned though, it's not just about the technical differences. It's also an entirely different culture that you're dealing with, because system and network admins tend to work differently from application developers. They've got their own set of jargon, their own set of acronyms and phrases and buzzwords and things like that. They've got their own life cycles. Application developers have what they call SDLC, the software development life cycle, and there are as many variations of that as there are people doing software development, really. So it's not just about, well, how do I learn JavaScript? How do I learn these different web application technologies? It's also about, how do I think about doing vulnerability assessment? What am I looking for, and what are the significance of those findings? And then once you've got that information, it's about, how do I go and talk to the right people? Do I know the right stakeholders? Can I get engaged with them? Can I make security part of their development process, part of their testing, part of their QA, so that I'm not just catching things after the fact, I'm actually catching them up front before they make it into production, before they're out there in the wild. If this is something that you're dealing with, if you've got this thrown on your plate and now you've suddenly got to do application security, or if this is the direction that you want to move in, I always recommend trying to learn more. I've recently written our new AppSpider training course. You can go to rapid7.com to learn more about that. And there's a lot of open source and open reference materials out there as well, if you're the kind inclined for self-study. So all I really want you to do is think about this differently. It's not just the technology that's changing, it's the entire process, the entire life cycle that's changing when you're making this jump. That's it for this week's Whiteboard Wednesday. We'll talk to you next week.